Speaking of streamer, kumusta naman yung pagiging podcaster natin?
Aside from the launch of Babble Station, we also have another launch that Apple released last June, which is
The Apple Vision Pro.
Mhm.
So, I mean, every year naman kasi, diba, big news naman yung iPhone. So, I was thinking about putting iPhone dito, pero every year naman may bago.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
always.
Pero, I think this one is yung pinaka-ambitious na announcement ng Apple in recent memory.
Yeah.
Yung Apple Vision. Kasi, yung track record ng wearables is, I mean, Google Glass failed before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There
I
was
think
Google
yung
Glass.
nag-succeed lang is yung sa VR headsets for video games. Pero that's, I mean, obvious naman kasi may market talaga. Pero other than video games, usage in like real everyday life,
Yeah.
these things are seen as more of novelties. Like, okay,
Mhm.
cool, but,
Yeah.
diba? So, it was a bold move knowing that parang track record. Pero yung Apple naman usually ganun talaga yung strategy nila. Like, they're never the first to actually put out some, although they would claim na sila yung nauna, pero that's not the case, diba? I think it's quite smart kasi they're parang pinapauna muna nila yung ibang company. I've heard from yung early reviews, yung MKBHD reviewed an early parang build of this product. Tapos, it was like working with magic daw eh. Kasi
Yeah.
ganun
Sobrang
ka...
intuitive, right?
Mhm.
Yes, and sobrang sensitive ng camera. I mean, Apple, obviously. Ang galing nilang mag-produce ng cams. But, yung pag-sense ng finger movements, hand movements, it's super exact.
Mm.
So, that's one bright spot for this one. I don't know if kakagat agad yung masses. I don't
I
think
don't think
yun
so.
yung intention naman ng
Yeah.
first-gen products. Parang yung intention ng first-gen is yung market nila is yung mga people who can afford and then come 5 to 10 years if kaya nang mag-cut ng cost ng Apple and marami ng third-party developers. I think dun na siya magiging available for the masses.
I think yung step nila is more of just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Tapos, yun yung basically test dummy nila na, okay, let's see how people react para we know what to change. Basically, kind of looking at it na what went wrong, what went right. So, ayun.
Pero I'm really sure ang daming kakagat niyan because it's Apple. I mean like I don't know, yung nung nilabas
Meron, for sure.
nung nilabas nga yung
Definitely
mga first gen items like AirPods.
I
dami
mean,
ng-
AirPods was
Daming kumagat
practical.
nun. Yung
Ito was-
yung AirPods Pro Max. Ay, tama ba? Yung basta the headphones of
that was also practical.
That was practical.
Pero-
Plus, hindi bago yung form factor. If you guys remember, nung kasagsagan ng COVID, naglabas din yung Razer ng mask ata, yun, RGB.
Yeah.
Kasi, I mean, kung iisipin mo, it fits yung current na situation. Sobrang daming gamers, plus may COVID. So, iisipin mo, okay, so madaming bibili nito. Pero, sobrang, hindi ko alam if it's just for wearables, pero sobrang laking hurdle lagi
Yeah.
for wearables. Kasi, it has to be something na comfortable gamitin.
Not just
Ganon.
that, parang I think there's a hurdle in general when you're putting out something new. Kasi kahit gaano pa yan ka-comfortable, I'm sure kinonsider naman nila yung wearability niyan, yung weight.
Yeah.
I'm sure na-consider yan ng Apple. Pero the fact lang na it looks weird.
It does look weird.
Would you pay a certain amount for something na looks weird
I forgot
tapos
na,
never been tried before?
Maybe ma-discover na hindi naman pala to meant to be worn outside. Baka ma-discover after ng first release na most of the users sa bahay lang naman pala magsistay. So baka andun yung market. Hindi pa natin alam. We'll know in next year pag na-release, officially na-release ng product na to.
But I
Early
feel like-
2024.
I feel like this product will boom.
Okay.
Hope.
Let the records show.
Speaking
Yung
of records, we have an artist over there who is breaking records recently because of her
A phenomenon, a
tour.
sensation, a superstar.
Yes, she announced her second leg for her Eras tour because her first leg was in the US.
US.
And then she released new set of dates outside the US, which includes Brazil, Singapore, Japan, Australia,
Sabay-sabay.
Yeah, so like a lot of Swifties out there are really looking forward to attend her concert. And lalo na yung mga Filipino Swifties.
Exactly.
Who were
Knowing,
expecting na dito
May mga ano na yan, conspiracy na,
Yeah.
guys, wait lang, inaasikaso pa ni,
Yeah, ito.
ng team ni Taylor kung may kayang venue. Or,
Yung funny is, hindi mo na attend ang concert na to kasi magka-concert si Taylor
Oo,
dito.
yun nga.
Yeah.
Pero kasi dun sa, nirelease niyang set of dates and venues, Singapore lang yung only Southeast Asian country where she will have her concert. So, like, imagine, I don't know how many Southeast Asian countries are there, but imagine all of those Southeast Asian countries fighting for a ticket just to watch Taylor Swift perform.
It's not even the ticket. Balita ko may bidding war sa kung saan yung venue you hold.
Diba?
As in, SG specifically intended na sila yung only
Right.
venue.
For tourism nila. Kaya nag-partner sila with Clue, di ba?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's why magsistay si Miss Taylor sa Marina Bay Sands.
Damn.
How many dates ulit yung original versus yung in-ad?
3 dates.
3 dates original.
As far as I know, yung original.
And then they added
And they added 2 more dates.
Okay, so 1 week siya dun sa
Yeah.
Singapore.
Pero may break day siya.
Yeah,
May break
pero
day
the
siya.
fact na 1 week siya dun. It's insane just to tour.
Pero I'm surprised na parang balita ko nga, most of the concert attendees for the Eras Tour sa Singapore, most of them are Filipinos.
I mean, kasi to be fair, sa Spotify pa lang, tayo yung second biggest fan base. For most
insane.
artists, yung QC,
Obviously,
is the
top
top
1
2.
would be
like a US.
US.
Because
The
in population, pero in terms of yung concentration of people, sobrang lakas mag-support in general of any artist sa mga Filipinos. So, what more kung it would be someone like Taylor Swift. So, I think that's also why I'm sure a lot of other Southeast Asian fans wanted to go. It's just that mas competitive yung Filipinos,
Yeah.
I would say.
Tapos, after her announcement of those dates, around bandang first week of July, dun yung ticket selling.
Yeah.
And that's what they call the Great War.
The
And
Great War.
prior to the Great War, ang daming mga processes to go through. Like, you need to pre-register. And then, you need to like wait for an email if you're part of the pre-selling or some sort of like
Yeah,
that.
because that was all in an attempt to manage the number of people entering the site when they tried
Yeah.
to buy tickets. Kasi before, yung reason kung bakit may ganyan was because nung US leg na ticket selling, multiple times nag-crash yung
Yeah,
website because
oo.
so many people, millions of people
Yeah.
at the same time were going into the site and trying to book a ticket, and that's only considering 1:1 yung
Yeah.
bibili.
Oo.
A lot of people had multiple devices to try and book lang. So, yung ginawa nila was, they tried to kind of do a lottery system. So, if you register here, you may or may not get the chance to have the sign-up link. So,
Yeah.
that was their attempt at trying to control the numbers lang, which I kind of understand kasi, of course, the website will crash. So, mas lalong wala makakakuha ng tickets.
Yeah, and I believe isang ticket company lang yung nagki-cater, which is Ticketmaster, ng ticket sellings ni Taylor Swift. Pero sa Singapore naman, aside from Ticketmaster, there is Cloak, which release packages
Yeah,
for her
because
concert.
Taylor's team and SG specifically had the partnership, diba, with
Yes.
Klook. In kind of, I believe this is also part of their tourism push. Kaya madami talaga, surprisingly, na
yeah.
tickets that were allotted for the Klook packages.
And then, after the Great War ended, like, sold out agad lahat ng dates sa shows niya sa Singapore. So, congratulations to everyone who won the war.
On the bright side, for anyone in general, not just those that won the quote-unquote Great War, merong emergence of
Taylor Sheesh.
a secondary Taylor Swift.
Taylor at home.
We have Taylor at home, guys.
Taylor
Which is Taylor
Sheesh, guys.
And I'm so proud na she is on international level at the
Yeah, she's
moment.
smart.
So,
Yeah.
Yun. Kasi, ang galing nga, as we've mentioned before, the Philippine fan base, where all artists, especially Taylor Swift in general, sobrang supportive and sobrang loud. So, it was able to kind of give birth to another artist named
To this.
Taylor Swift.
What do we
To this. Taylor Swift at home. And, ayun, parang it's really exciting kasi at least the concert experience, I mean, of course, it's not the same, pero the excitement of belonging or being part of something like that, medyo na-bring in naman ni Taylor Swift. And, yun.
Which reminds me, since ang daming hopefuls na hindi makakapunta. So I believe she released yung Eras Tour as its own film, diba?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main reason I believe na she did that. Para, so to those who didn't get a ticket to the actual concert, they can have the concert experience in the movie theaters. And speaking of movie theaters, we can probably move on to the next month, which is July, or as I'd like to call it, the month of the movies.
Yes.
Kasi, I mean, we'll explain the third picture later on, pero as you can see, the two pictures are mostly just movies.
Wait,
So,
does this happen every year ba na nasa July yung blockbusters? Like, may...
usually, summer is kind of like a sweet spot talaga for movies kasi everyone's kind of free, everyone wants to go out, hang out. So, I think that's why July siya. March kasi is usually a dead period.
Wala namang parang major awards na tina-timing sila. Wala naman, di ba?
I'm not
Right.
sure. I'm not sure. Anyway, so for July, we have, well, that's actually 3. We'll move into the middle picture later on. So the first picture is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is the second installation of the Spider-Man,
The Spider-Verse. Yeah.
which is the second installation of the Spider-Verse trilogy, I believe. So, I find this really interesting kasi sobrang nag-trending to, especially for the fact na it's an animated film. And that
Did this trend
doesn't happen.
really? Parang, or...
it
I mean,
trended.
as much as the first movie. Hindi naman, di ba? Or parang, sinakyan nyo na lang yung popularity ng first.
I don't think so. I think it also held its ground pretty good kasi parang, of course, the first one was probably at peak hype because no one's ever seen
Right.
something like that before. But at this point, we have certain expectations already. Pero this still kind of boomed on social media. I still see it a lot. Tas, ayun, I was happy kasi I was able to watch it, actually. Tas, yung interesting for me about it is, animated yung first movie, but the second movie, kind of, brings it up a notch kasi it's a combination of different art styles.
Yeah.
Since when you say Spider-Verse, it's actually a multiverse of different Spider-Mans. That's kind of how the general logic of the whole trilogy or movie series works, na parang there are different Spider-Mans in different universes, tapos they all kind of converge in different ways. So yung favorite part ko is the fact na each Spider-Man has their own different style, which kind of brings back the attention to yung mga animators nga, which
Yeah.
I think recently medyo mas focus na kasi tayo on live action movies. So I'm glad na there are movies like this every now and then that aren't just by Disney or aren't by DreamWorks na Shrek or Despicable Me.
Hindi ka ba sa parang string ng Sony animated movies na gano'n? May ano yun? Pixel. Si ba Sony rin yun?
Oh,
yung Pixels.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, oo. Di ba Sony yung mahilig?
Parang okay naman for me yung movie na yun.
Really?
Yeah.
It depends. If you're looking for a serious film, obviously that's not where you wanna go. It's a
Pero
different
ano,
genre.
between this one and yung first, anong mas gusto mo? Where
Um,
would you rank them sa...
Actually, I had this conversation na with my friend na we were kind of trying to rank. Pero kasi, okay, sige, minor spoilers for those who haven't watched yet. Pero that's your fault kasi ilang buwan na
Nasa
tong
Netflix na.
release. Nasa Netflix na to?
Mm.
Okay, so go watch it in Netflix. Pero minor spoiler lang naman, the second movie actually ends right before the climax.
Right.
So, meaning, this is kind of like the first half of
if trilogy yung plano, I guess.
it's a trilogy,
Get it.
pero technically it's 2 parts. Tas the second part is divided into 2 for
Yeah.
some reason. So the main fight will happen in the third movie. So for that reason, I don't think it's fair to compare it to the first one na complete yung story. Kasi hindi pa complete yung story of the second one.
I think one thing na notable sa akin from both movies, although mas malakas ng onte yung first movie in this aspect, is yung soundtrack. Ang galing lang talaga ng soundtrack nila for the Spider-Man. For this,
In general, no?
Oo.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, so...
Tapos dito rin nag-spring yung meme na canon event.
Yung canon event kasi, di ba, maraming mga Spider-Mans. Tapos lahat sila namamatay si Uncle Ben.
Huh? So, yun yung...
Lahat ng Spider-Mans
Mamatay
this
si
is not a spoiler, Gene.
Ito yung origin ni Spider-Man. Namatay si Uncle Ben. Si Uncle Ben sabi.
Oh, yes, I know that one.
Okay.
Yung kay Tobey Maguire.
Hindi lang si Tobey Maguire.
Yung Spider-Man ni Tobey, yung scene ng pagkamatay ni Uncle Ben, pinakita sa Spider-Verse. Pati yung Uncle Ben ni Andrew Garfield,
Yeah.
pinakita din. So, ang daming cameos ng iba-ibang Spider-Man.
Tapos, yun yung meaning ng canon event.
Oo. Canon event in any universe,
It's true.
constant yon, oo, sa buhay mo.
Anyway, aside from obviously Spider-Verse, we have 2 very contrasting films which came out on the same day, which was actually insane to the point na naging phenomenon na siya all over social media, which was Barbie and Oppenheimer, or better known as Barbenheimer nga.
Yes.
So Barbie is kind of like this I guess chill, fun, cute, girly movie by Greta Gerwig about the famous Barbie doll by Mattel. And then Oppenheimer is about
It's a biopic ng title, which
Yeah.
is si Oppenheimer.
si Oppenheimer.
Who was responsible for developing the first atomic bomb.
Yeah, the one used
Yeah.
in
One used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ang interesting lang nung sabay itong nilabas, like the contrast between them. Like, a very girly movie and then pinagtapat to
A very serious
movie.
dark movie,
Yeah.
biopic pa.
And then like a lot of people pa wanted to watch it on the same day. Either Barbie muna and then Oppenheimer. Ganun. And then I feel like this era then of Barbenheimer was first time ko lang na witness na a lot of people dressed up to the gods whenever they watch Barbie. And then they change attires whenever they watch Oppenheimer.
If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the first kasi na major movie events after pandemic
Yeah,
then. So people
oo.
were excited to go back. Ang interesting lang talaga ng concept of watching it at the same time. Kaso, personally, I wouldn't recommend
I won't
because
recommend.
Barbie is 1.5 hours of, parang, pretty good entertainment while Oppenheimer is a serious biopic that lasts for 3 hours. So, I feel like you have to be in completely different moods to watch the 2. Pero, go ahead, whatever makes you happy. So, ayun. I think, honestly, sobrang nag-boom to. Not just because it's Barbie and then it's Oppenheimer, 2 very famous stories na a lot of people were interested in, but just the contrast itself. Which one yung out of the 2 you kind of enjoyed more?
For me, I enjoyed Barbie. I'm sorry for those people who watched Oppenheimer. Kasi, inantok ako watching it.
It's a long movie.
It's
It's
a long
3
movie.
hours.
Yeah, tapos, spoiler alert. I don't know if it's a spoiler alert or what. Pero,
Walang spoiler.
So,
alert.
spoiler
Nagising-
alert, sumasabog yung bomb sa Oppenheimer.
Guys,
I mean-
sumabog na.
oo,
Sorry.
oo, pero, dun lang ako nagising sa part na yun. Pero, Barbie kasi is a nice satire for me.
Interesting kasi considering Greta Gerwig came from relatively serious films about women naman, like Little Women, Lady Bird. So everyone had this picture of her as a quote-unquote serious film director.
Agree.
Pero may mga nagsasabi naman na whoever, she never said that. Like, kayo lang yung nagle-label sa kanya nun. So, like, the whole thing was just interesting for me.
Hindi, pero ako same with Jean. Ako kasi I went in expecting na mas magugustuhan ko yung Oppenheimer. For obvious reasons, feeling ko hindi ako yung target.
Demographic.
Yeah, hindi ako yung demographic ng Barbie. Pero, inuna ko kasi panoorin yung Oppenheimer. Tapos, I have to be honest, parang may part doon na nakatulog ako. Siguro mga 10 minutes leading up to yung ending. Which is buti na lang nagising ako kasi important yung ending.
Agree.
Pero there were parts, although, I mean, although hindi ko sinasabing pangit yung Oppenheimer. Obviously, it's a very, very good biopic.
It's
Super
important.
importante. But I had problems with the pacing. Pero that's a Nolan thing naman eh. Pero this one specifically, nagka-problem ako sa pacing. Plus the whole subplot with RDJ. Hindi ko masyadong nag-gets, I think, yung dialogue.
I feel like you have to have a
parang
solid
brief,
background
yeah,
on
oo.
the history
Parang
before
dapat
you...
nagbasa ka muna sa Wikipedia kung anong nangyari.
Honestly, ako, I did a
You
bit of
did?
research. So, mas
Kasi
na-appreciate
hindi.
ko yung Oppenheimer. I can't imagine, parang appreciating it as much of... Hindi ko kilala yung ibang characters. Like, who's that guy playing?
But all that to say na maganda pa ring biopic yung Oppenheimer. And I'm glad na mag-screen na siya sa Japan. Finally next year kasi hindi mo na siya in-screen for obvious reasons. I don't think glorify niya yung nangyari in any way. I mean, ni-humanize pa rin yung character ni Oppenheimer pero yung way niya ng pagpapakita ng vulnerability, it's not for us to sympathize with the character. It's for us to see yung dangers
Yeah.
nung
Agree.
pagka-vulnerable of humans. So, I think it did a really good job.
And what did you do?
Yes.
Yeah, it needed, yung Barbie naman, hindi ko kasi in-expect na makaka-relate ako kasi akala ko it's just geared towards women. Pero
Dahil kay Ken.
yeah, sobrang nakarelate ako sa subplot ni Ken kasi parang pinakita sa film yung struggles na men deal with then when it comes to
Yes.
parang yung female gaze, or relying on the female gaze, yung our view of patriarchy parang benefiting men.
Yeah.
It's not actually the case kasi it's also quite unfair to men as what was parang portrayed in the movie. So it showed how a patriarchy is unfair to both sexes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And it did it in a super light no way, which is why
So,
I think it was super
yung
popular.
sabi nga
then
ni
at the
Jean,
time.
if you went in to watch Barbie as a comedy, medyo hit or miss siya honestly. May parts na medyo OA, pero it's meant to be OA naman talaga.
It's a
Pero,
satire, dude.
yeah,
It's about toys.
It's a hit or miss for people in comedy. Pero if you come into the theater expecting to watch thoughtful, relevant satire, masasatisfy ka sa Barbie talaga. So I think both of them left a big impact. I think one thing pala na amazed ako is yung Barbie kasi, grabe yung perang tinapon for promos, di ba?
Insane.
dude,
Insane.
And given that, na sobrang, like if you compare yung promos ng dalawa, mataas pa rin obviously yung promos ng Oppenheimer, pero ibang scale talaga yung Barbie. Pero
Yeah.
at the end of the day, parang same lang silang matunog sa minds ng everyone. So it's just both really good films who both left a very parang huge impact.
Ayun. I mean, in general, I think Barbie is a super trendy na topic, which is why another thing I wanted to talk about for the month of July was yung trend na using girl. For example, was girl dinner,
Girl
which was an
dinner.
exact term used sa Barbie. So what even is girl dinner?
I believe girl dinner is like putting different kinds of food into one plate and just call it girl dinner, or making food in an easy way and just call it girl dinner.
Parang tipid hacks, ganun.
Parang eto lang
I
yung dinner
guess
ko, konti lang.
Yung mga videos kasi is like, oh, I'm just making spaghetti, pero I'm just putting a lot of stuff in it. and just-
Makeshift stuff.
Yeah, oo. Or parang nagpapanggap na, nagluluto ka, pero you're just making instant noodles pala.
Okay.
Parang ganun. Yung
That's
girl
cute.
dinner.
That's cute. I believe meron ding term na girl math.
Yun yung mas nakikita ko sa feed ko. Ano ba yung girl
I
na?
feel like girl math is like, for example, hindi ako gumastos today. So masasabi ko na, oh, I saved money.
You earned whatever you were supposed to spend.
Parang
that day.
ganun. Or, parang, kinu-compute ko in my head. For example, if I buy a 5,000 peso top, isipin ko na, okay, so, if nag-ipon ako ng 5,000 for the next few weeks, makakabila ako nun. Pero, if binili ko now, isipin ko, oh, okay, if I divide this for the next few weeks, isipin ko na, this is like 10 pesos per day. So, bilhin ko na to ngayon, kaysa bilhin ko next week.
It's more of motivating yourself, validating your expenses.
expenses.
Na parang, no, it's
Healing your
okay
inner
because
child.
you owe yourself this. Basically, healing your inner child. And ang
it's another-
timely
another,
kasi that's exactly what the theme of Barbie or one of the themes of Barbie was,
ito
diba?
nga, no?
So,
Pero parang feel ko hindi lang siya limited sa sa pera. Nasa parang time management din. So parang, oh, okay, so I went out. So for example, I went out today. So hindi na ako lalabas for the next few days. Parang ganun. May ganung
I can kind of see it. Pero I
Point na
usually see
ganun.
it talaga for money.
Money.
Girl, man.
Feel ko talaga dito papasok yung word na pagkadelulu. Ganun.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to
Yeah.
summarize girl math. The Lulu computations. Para to validate your expenses, especially if they're a bit pricey.
I mean, at least masaya ka in the end. Right?
You're broke though.
Yeah, so, moving on to the next month after the big movies. Movies pa rin for
Movies
August.
pa rin pala.
Yeah.
So may nag-trickle down. Ayun, for August, we had Cinemalaya, which was an exciting year. So I've mentioned before during Feb na the Venice Film Festival is kind of like the indie cool sister of the Oscars. This one naman, in comparison to MMFF, which, I mean, I know a lot of people are familiar with Cinemalaya, but to put it into context, I guess Cinemalaya is the Venice Film Festival of MMFF, right?
okay.
It's like catered to more independent movies. I know a lot of filmmakers na students also have. I have friends that were also student filmmakers that were also able to submit entries. So that's really exciting.
That's nice.
Tapos, I think this year specifically, we had some interesting entries such as E.T. Mapukpukaw. That was the best picture winner for this year's Cinemalaya. And the thing I like about it the most was because it was animated. Not just that, but it was animated in a sense na may purpose yung why they chose to do it in that style. Kasi it's kind of like may surreal elements to it. So I feel like it also helped in driving the team forward. Pero honestly, almost all of them are super interesting. And another thing I kind of wanted to point out, apart from obviously the rest of the super interesting entries, was the Best Actress winner, which was Pat Ting Huy, who won for Rookie. Kasi ang galing, I just found out na she was an Archie then.
She was? Or...
She is,
she
actually.
is, diba? Yeah,
Correction. If I'm not mistaken, she took the boards during the peak of all this.
Yeah. Kasi may mga friends akong tinatag siya. Tapos, wait, how are we like parang connected?
In the same
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah.
So, yun, parang she did both, which was
Wow,
interesting.
Grabe.
Kudos to her.
Multitasker. How? Where do you find
Tell
the
us
time?
how you can
You can come over.
you can come over and chat with us
Yeah.
about it. So yun, going back to Archie, I believe the next picture is another Archie-related topic,
Yup,
and I
I've
feel like it's familiar.
I've seen this a lot sa Facebook.
Yeah.
at that
and
point
I
ng
believe
story.
that this is the Monterrazas de Cebu,
Yeah.
which sparked a lot of talks and controversies, which, yeah, boomed on social media.
Why was it controversial? I get na, I think the first wave of reactions were coming from people kasi for context, this was popular, I think, because Slater Young
Yes.
was the one who kind of put it out in mainstream media. So a lot of people who aren't really into Archie or design and construction were able to appreciate it and kind of share it and be like,
Yeah.
wow. And then after that, there was a wave of semi-backlash, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the first wave of backlash was like, how will this be done? Ang daming environmental impacts daw na mangyayari if this will push through.
Yeah. But
Which we don't know.
Well,
we
yeah,
don't
I
know. I mean, that's what I think a lot of the architects, after the initial wave of backlash, came in to say na we can't really say those stuff about the project since we're not actually the ones designing it. So, of course, there would have been general design consideration in
Yes.
terms of
Of
yung the
course, there was someone
Of course.
sa team
Oo.
who did the necessary research,
Yeah.
feasibility study.
And
Yeah.
aside from that, nagkaroon din ng backlash pagdating sa concept. Kasi,
It's a concept.
yeah, like, people,
They found a similar
Yeah.
looking project sa Greece.
meron sa internet na Slater said that this was inspired by Banawi Rice
Terraces,
terraces.
which
I
it
mean,
does
you
look
can,
like,
you
yeah.
can see it. I can see it.
There are some sources din na sinasabi this was really copied by a different
I think it's a stretch
Design.
to say really copied kasi there's no way to know. Plus, I've talked about this before with you guys. Parang if you're honest about yung architecture, if you know that architecture should respond to a problem or a context, madami namang problem sa Pilipinas na nag-exist din sa ibang places. And if, kunwari, this particular place sa ibang parte ng mundo found a parang viable solution na nag-work, so why not use the same solution, di ba? That works. Plus, it's a bit hypocritical naman to say na.
Yeah,
like,
we as
yeah,
designers
we do
would
that
know
always.
na.
I mean, the first
Sometimes
thing I
it
do
just
is
looks the same.
search for Pinterest
Yeah.
pegs.
That's
I feel like it all boils down to the professionals who are behind this.
Right.
Kaya kasi ang mga nagko-comment naman talaga ay just from the
Follow.
internet. On the brighter side naman, marami namang positive comments about this.
Yeah,
na
the general
sinasabi,
public, yeah.
Yeah, maganda and
Audience
people are looking
nadala ni
forward to
Slater
it.
outside. If something like this gets realized, I feel like it's another
It's
architectural
actually a feat
marvel.
na
Yes.
Right.
something like that gets realized. Kasi a lot of drawings, especially once na medyo mas ambitious or
Yeah.
different yung design, never make it to actual construction.
And I
So-
feel like this being constructed na, di ba? I'm seeing vlogs
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
preset.
So that's a big step
Yeah.
on its own, regardless.
So, speaking of ambitions design, aside from the Monterazas, we have another
What is that?
design or project
Interesting.
here, which is very interesting, which is
This is The Line
By
by
Neom.
Neom. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, actually, hindi ko to naalala agad until nung nag-WAF kami this November. Kasi yung isang speaker doon is the urban design manager ng Neom.
Mhm.
And she actually headlined this project. Si Sarah Fayad, ata yung pangalan niya.
Okay.
So, nung in-announce tong project na to, people were quick to react. When react, I mean react negatively. Kasi, I mean, if you look at it, mukha nga naman siyang setting ng isang dystopian
Yeah, super.
movie. Tapos, archy side, yung question na may isip mo agad. So, paano mo solve yung urban blight? So, sobrang dilim nung nasa ilalim. Magiging parang, di ba may parang normal setting siya sa novels na yung nasa pinaka-ilalim is yung lower classes.
Yeah,
parang
like-
nagiging
Oh, yeah.
classes din yung design.
Snowpiercer, the platform.
Yeah, tapos environmental impact. Since hindi naman pinakita sa yung short walkthrough kung ano yung studies behind this. Pero pinakita siya during the talk nung WAF.
Mm.
So, doon niya medyo clarify yung I mentioned kanina, di ba, yung amount of feasibility studies that went potentially into Monterazas. Obviously, this one also had an insane amount of feasibility
Of
studies
course,
na,
to propose something like that.
na hindi aware yung public, di ba? Pero, I mean, you can't blame naman the public for reacting. So, basically, a lot of the backlash dito is dahil nga sobrang ambitious ng project, tas they branded it as being the first ever zero gravity architecture. So,
What does
pag
that mean?
exactly, like pag narinig mo yung word na zero gravity architecture, parang sobrang ambitious naman. Ano yung lumulutang ba yung
Yeah.
mga bahay dito? Which, in this case, hindi. Yung zero gravity siya in the sense na, di ba, pag nagde-design tayo ng buildings, dinidesign natin siya with the ground plane in mind, na itatayo siya on the ground. So, we're parang, sa logic na yun, we're building with just one dimension in mind or two dimensions in mind. Pag sinabing zero gravity, ginagamit niya yung 3D space para mag-construct ng building. Meaning, hindi necessarily na sa ground plane yung lowest floor ng isang building. Yung lowest floor ng isang building, posibleng nakakabit sa highest floor ng ibang building or posibleng naka-suspend sa a fake ground plane. So you're thinking about building a city na hindi sprawling na horizontal,
Yeah.
pero patong-patong na parang 3D space.
Oh, I think I understand why parang medyo dystopian yung parang image ng iba kasi when you're describing it that way, I kind of remember yung Kowloon walled city, if you're familiar with that. It's basically like a group of buildings, I think in China.
Oh, okay.
Or Hong Kong. No,
parang ganun.
It's
Asia,
like
Asia.
it's in a super parang condensed na Asian country wherein there was a group of buildings, tapos imagine one block of buildings.
Right.
Tapos eventually yung isang block na yon siningitan yung mga alleyways ng another building and then another building until it came to a point na wala nang daanan sa na road in the middle of the block. So it's just one mega block of buildings attached to each other to the point na pwede kang maglakad from one end to the other side of the block without even touching the ground.
Yes.
So ganun siya ka-intense. Tapos
So,
it came to a point na iba yung ways, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Parang you can go
claustrophobic,
down,
ganun.
ganun. It is. I think that's also why people were quick to point
criticize this
judgment at the
one.
line. Kasi it kind of had a similar vibe. The Kowloon walled city was controversial for the fact na it had safety concerns. Tapos super condensed nga. Besides the fact na it was super dystopian.
Yeah, super interesting na na-bring up mo yung Kowloon kasi if sumali ka ng any parang ideas competition sa Archie, laging may entry na Kowloon yung setting. As in, lagi yan. Tapos actually, meron tayong sariling version ng Kowloon, which is yung Baseco compound na lagi siyang lumalabas sa mga design compet na yung parang same idea din na patong-patong. Since this is a parang upscale ng mga already existing practices sa Archie, ito lang yung pinaka upscaled and ambitious na scale kasi gagawin siyang legit na mega city. And wala pa tayong mega city right now. Madaming plano for it. China, obviously Saudi. So, ako naman, I'm looking at it from a positive angle. Hindi naman, yung city kasi hindi naman siya na-build overnight. I'm sure yung ibang problems na na-bring up upon yung initial reaction, I'm sure valid yung iba doon, pero it's not something na hindi makikita sa first model blocks. And if makita yun sa model blocks na i-construct muna, i-improve na yun sa later blocks. Kasi hindi naman, yung perspective na to, hindi naman to agad makakonstruct. It's gonna take,
like by phase, diba?
True, by phase. And
So,
as with other phase developments, you learn from your previous developments. I think it's gonna take years. I think yung sinabi niya, you're gonna see a parang functioning community by the year 2050. Actually, under construction na to. Like, nakikita mo na yung construction na to talaga. By 2050, mayroon ng functioning community, and then several years more after, baka it takes 100 to complete this entire
I'm
strip.
guessing maybe even more than that.
Yeah. And I think for visualization purposes, mukha kasi siyang glass lang talaga yung buong surface, pero may mga butas yan actually. So medyo porous din siya. And there are green spaces inside. Obviously, I'm not defending it. Feeling ko naman valid yung ibang criticism. I'm just relaying ano yung sinabi nung urban designer.
Which isn't as available to the public as the initial walkthrough na we saw for like a minute.
Yes.
Moving on to medyo, you mentioned, we were talking about dystopian movies, like movies in general. Let's go back to actual movies or actual series, which is on September. Mamaya na natin pag-uusapan yung nasa gitna.
Sino nga ba ito?
Pero dun muna tayo sa unang picture, which is the release of the live-action One Piece. So, kayo ba guys? Are you fans of the anime?
Makenyu.
Makenyu. No, it's regarded as parang one of the OG Big Three, diba? Along with Naruto
it's one of the
and
Big
Bleach.
Three.
Pero I never really watched it kasi feeling ko I have to dedicate an insane amount of time para makover yung 1,080 episodes na.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, that's actually why I think it's a good thing na One Piece live action came out. Kasi, ayun, it was actually super successful based on what you hear sa online, right? Kasi it was kind of catapulted into a good position because of the fact na yung One Piece fan base was already super big. So, nung na-release yung live action, it brought a lot of attention to the live action. And, opposite effect naman, I know a lot of friends that haven't watched the anime no One Piece, but they were interested. So, because something like this was available, parang it kind of gave them the courage to also start watching the anime. So,
I'm scared
that's
for
it.
them. Hindi ko alam if may enjoy ba nila yung anime. Kasi honestly, yung first, and one of the reasons bakit ba't hindi ko tinuloy yung, I tried, hindi ko lang tinuloy kasi I feel like it didn't age well. At least yung animation, yung first part, plus the pacing ng One Piece. To the point na merong tinatawag na One Piece, which is a website kung saan tinanggal lahat ng filler, di ba? Para mapaiksi yung... Yeah, so I'm scared for them. I feel like it's gonna be the same case as those people who watched Arcane, tas gandang-ganda, tapos nag-try sila mag-league. That's it's not the same experience.
No, it depends. You have to set
That's-
expectations. Ako kasi, like, I think a mainstream version of One Piece, this is super nice. Tapos, the anime is completely different. If you're willing to really dive into it, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pero pahapyaw lang tong...
This is a pahapyaw.
Yeah.
Pero I feel like it's
just an arc.
it
One of the
gave
early arcs.
it gave respect to yung
Yes.
original na.
Uh,
Also the fact na yung creator of the One Piece
Si
anime,
Oda,
yeah, was part of the entire thing. That's also why I feel like this is one of the better
Yeah,
at
definitely.
live action
Oh.
adaptations.
Para siyang outlier. Hindi madalas magandang live action yung anime. I mean, to name a few, Death Note, butchered by Netflix.
The
The
Dragon
Netflix
Ball, guys.
version
Dragon
lang.
Cowboy
Ball.
Bebop, Netflix
Cowboy
adaptation
Bebop.
ulit. Ano ba?
Dragon Ball.
The Dragon Ball, Avatar The Last Airbender. So,
I mean,
those are,
Avatar's
Avatar's getting another...
is it an anime?
It is an anime. I mean, it is an anime.
Okay.
Another conversation yun. Pero I feel
This is
like
a
it's
separate
an-
conversation.
Well, ako, I haven't watched One Piece yet. Like, the anime and the real-life adaptation of it.
Feeling ko kasi you were busy with other things. Like, trying
Oh,
out
God.
different AI filters.
Oh, God. Let me
September
explain,
pala.
guys. Let me explain. So, the photo sa gitna is me in an AI photo filter, which became popular in this month. I think the first wave of AI filters was the Korean filter. Like, people started Koreanizing themselves.
Korean.
I don't know if that's a word, but they made themselves Korea boos or K-idols, ganun, or
K-idols.
K-actors. Yeah. And then aside from that, here comes the yearbook or photo book AI, which is, I tried here.
To be fair, it had some pretty good output.
Yeah, it had some-
I saw a lot of people
Yeah,
online
yeah.
post there, ano. The quality is
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
Ayun,
For
kamukha
200
nam-
pesos.
I mean, I don't know kung kamukha ko, pero...
Sa Spider-Verse of jeans, maybe.
ito yung-
May ganyan.
AI photo edits were boomed during the month of September, and I mean, we could all agree na most of them were not a flop for those who uploaded it. Now we move on to our next topic, which is Hamilton, which also debuted nung September, and Hamilton was like a talk of the town nung sinabi na Philippines was the first leg for...
Talaga ba?
Yeah, oo.
Oh, okay, kaya pala.
Yeah, tapos after Philippines, alam ko Singapore yung
Singapore.
next show nila. And then that was like a 3-month run.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of Hamilton fans were really looking forward.
Including you, right?
Old and new fans.
I mean, okay, I watched this for the first time live. So I haven't watched
Yung original.
the original yet.
Yeah.
So you guys can watch this on Disney Plus. It was produced and written by
And starring.
and starring Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Mm.
And yeah, this started on Broadway. Or I'm not sure with the timeline of Hamilton, pero Broadway musical to. So I think it started like way back. I don't know what year, pero basta
I think it was fairly recent kasi this is considered one of the medyo mas contemporary.
Yeah.
Parang after Dear Evan Hansen, I think this was the next big contemporary musical, if I'm
So,
not mistaken.
yung first experience ko was literally watching it live.
Congrats. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And then there were some parts na hindi ko naintindihan because the songs were so fast, like in rap style. Pero nung pinanood ko
Paayos
ulit,
naman daw, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
nung, sorry guys, sorry sa
Ayusin mo
mga
daw buhay.
Hamilton fans. Pero
Paayos
na-appreciate ko
naman.
talaga. Na-appreciate ko talaga yung yung masterpiece. Tapos
Hindi mo na na-gets.
Tapos pinanood ko ulit sa Disney Plus.
With
And,
lyrics.
Okay, yeah, with lyrics. And like, oh, okay, everything makes sense.
Ayan, no. For me, actually, even though I wasn't able to watch, it's interesting to have an exciting line-up talaga na parang seeing them live on stage must have been really exciting, especially if you were a fan from the very start. So another exciting line-up. I'm so sorry, ito yung bridge ko to the next topic.
Madami ding fans to, di ba?
Madaming fans. Interesting line-up here in the Philippines. Was our annual Babble. So that happened last October 28th. Which was yung AI to CI annual Babble natin, featuring a lot of actually super exciting profession. For those of you who were parang are not familiar with Babble, Babble is our annual event, which is actually the reason we have Babble Station right now. It's kind of like a ripple effect, or
Anak.
basically like a knack of Big Babble. So our annual Babble this year, we usually have professionals kind of in tangent to design and architecture to kind of talk about different ideas, mostly related to yung design trends. But this year, it was actually a little bit extra special because we talked mostly about AI, which if you're fans of the show, we love talking about for some reason. Na humahaba yung tangent natin whenever AI comes into
Awat
play.
na muna sa AI next year.
Next year na lang.
Next year.
So, ayun, we brought in different professionals from different fields who are also kind of working in tangent with AI. So, I feel like that was an extra interesting event. Since actually, ako personally and you, Izzy, as well, we were also able to personally be part of the team working on Babble. So, for me, super exciting for that to come to life. Especially because the festivities did not stop.
No.
Just after our annual Babble, we had a series of walking tours pa. So basically, we went around and toured different spots around Metro Manila with a bunch of students and young professionals and kind of gave them a tour and discussed a bit about the buildings that we were touring that day. So for me, this all was just a blur, an exciting blur for that matter. Pero for some reason, caught right along the blur of October. Nilagay ko yan kasi yan din yung other big thing na I can remember amidst the Babble mayhem that was happening. I know there was a lot of noise regarding the season finale of Drag Race.
Oh, yeah. We have the season finale of Drag Race Philippines Season 2. For those people who don't watch Drag Race, so it was hosted by Paolo Ballesteros or Mama Pao. And then I'm not sure, but this season had a lot of firsts. Like, the first season to have 3 transgendered queens. And then, this season was like, ang daming mga pakulo, ang daming mga...
They made it even more exciting,
Yeah,
basically.
sa mga away, ganun. Yeah, parang mga barda,
What?
mga barda, ganun. So, yeah, and then, the season finale, so we have a winner, which is Captivating Cat Cat. She is the first
Spoiler alert.
transgendered queen who won.
In all of Drag Race?
No, for this franchise lang. And there is this queen din, or there is this contestant na nalaman ko lang sa Facebook na architect din pala siya. Or I'm not sure if recently passed the boards. Pero yung pangalan ng queen
Passed away.
na yun ay si Hanabeshi. So, she won an award, which is
Duality of
Yeah,
architects.
So, she won an award, which is Miss Congeniality. So, like, I couldn't even imagine, like, being an architect and a drag queen at the same time. That's like, grabe yung time na ina-allot mo for those crafts.
Like hosting a podcast and reviewing and then being an architect.
Oh, damn. Pero, nonetheless, the whole season of Drag Race Philippines Season 2 was fun to watch. So, if you guys want to watch Drag Race, so you can watch it on HBO Go.
I'm actually glad na super popular and super ganda ng reception ng Drag Race Philippines. Kasi, alam mo yung parang we have more international quality na shows nowadays. Kasi, most of the time, parang yung comment ng mga people is, this is just like a Philippine version and Philippine version in a condescending manner. Pero this time kasi I hear a lot of good reviews specifically about Drag Race Philippines. A lot of them even say na it's one of the better in interpretations ng Drag Race. It might even be better than
Like most foreign nationals were like really looking forward to Drag Race Philippines.
Ayan, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Parang some drag queens come from different countries were like parang commending the queens here. So good for them.
Exciting
Yeah,
times
exciting
for
talaga.
the drag community in general.
It's a win for them. So
After October, move on to November.
Wild.
Oh my God. So, now sa picture.
I'm so sorry. Trigger warning for Izzy right over here. This is our WAF entry.
So, I feel like yung WAF is an episode. It's supposed to be an episode on its own. Like, ang daming stories lang
Yeah,
talaga.
but maybe you can give us a brief rundown of what WAF exactly is.
I don't think explain ko dapat yung project na to dito right now, but this is yung Pangasinan Barangay Centers na project namin that was shortlisted for future project civic category. Being shortlisted in itself is a huge win na.
It
Pero
is.
on
It
top
is.
of that, we won sa category na ethics and values. This is for WAF-X. Hindi ko alam if ito yung first installment nung parang WAF-X na segment ng WAF.
Yeah.
Pero yeah, I think that's the first parang major win of the firm. Obviously we've been shortlisted na before with CIIT Tower 1, which was highly commended for color and for a school building ata. So that was 2 wins then. So parang may trend tayo na we always win two things at the same time. So wow. So hopefully this continues, and it's not just a win for us kasi honestly yung WAF na to had the biggest parang list of projects from the Philippines. Before nito, yung previous record was, like yung previous WAF lang, and then beneath agad natin yung record na to with, I think, 12 shortlisted projects
Actually.
for
exciting.
WAF. And on top of that, yung student group natin was also parang competing sa charrettes. So, after the festivities nung November 28 to December, where we went to Singapore for a few days
Yeah.
and presented our project sa parang global pool ng jury. I think 3 projects from those 12 na shortlisted, 1 highly commended. So 1 is obviously ours, and then WTA for FEM Stadium, and then Galicia Architects for Kiliawan Resort. And I think for me, at least, yung pinaka-proud ako aside from this one is yung nanalo yung students dun sa charrette. I think the last time a Philippine team of students won was 10 years ago. So, parang a decade later,
Yeah.
nanalo
Wow.
ulit yung pinadala nating students for this. So, sobrang ganda sa feeling na parang lumalaki yung PhilWAF community. Ibig sabihin parang lumelevel yung projects natin sa international.
standards.
Yeah. And one of the winners pala is si Eldri Infante for the Architecture Drawing Prize. Yeah.
And it's actually really exciting kasi when I viewed the presentations, there really is a community of Filipino architects supporting each other. Kasi when I see yung bubbles, kasi diba you guys presented in bubbles, a lot of Filipino architects were watching each other during their presentation. So I really like that sense of Filipinos supporting Filipinos and building each other up. So,
Yeah, yung WAF kasi, yung crit nun, okay, ikikwento ko ulit to sa WAF episode natin, pero short story lang. Yung crit kasi, sabay-sabay minsan. So,
yeah.
I think sa lahat ng Filipino shortlisted entries, kami yung first na nag-present. Like, unang salang kami sa mga Pinoy, pero second kami sa category namin. So, after namin matapos, free na kami to roam around. And we made sure na pumunta talaga sa lahat ng Filipino na nagde-defend. Just to show support, of course. Malaking bagay actually yung merong mga sumisigaw sa, hindi naman sumisigaw, may mga hawak na flag sa sa
Cute.
cute. Like, I don't think there's any other country na grabe yung solidarity when it comes to these parang
The fact that
international
you
events.
just come from the
I
same
know.
country, no?
Mm.
There's a sense of solidarity. Speaking of wins,
Aside from yung win ng Filipino architects sa WAF, I think one of the biggest wins ng architecture profession in general sa country is when SU declared na only licensed architects may prepare, sign, and seal architectural documents. So
that has been in the works for a long time.
that has been a conversation for a long time. So nung una nyo itong nabasa, ano yung reaction nyo?
Nagulat lang ako na meron pala tayong pinaglalaban na ganito.
Gene.
No, I mean, that was the same reaction sa akin. Like,
Yeah.
I did
Na
not-
filed specifically.
oo.
Pero I know that's been a
Oo.
problem for a long time.
Yeah, alam ko na merong ganitong problem going on. Pero I didn't know na...
There was a formal
Yeah, oo.
movement.
Ako, I didn't know why this was a debate to begin with. Personally. Ikaw, Lomi.
Alam mo yung, I was kind of at that point na parang, is this the reality na we have to deal with? Is this a third world country thing? Is this
I know.
something na I just have to accept as someone na I'm in the Philippines na at the time, right now, hindi pa ganun ka-accepted yung arts inclined, the professions, is that a thing? That this shouldn't be a debate to begin with kasi there's a clear definition on like yun sa drawings itself kung sino yung magsasign. Pero I'm glad na right now, the line has been drawn. So at least mas clear na for future references. It's kind of like a good opportunity then for architects to kind of have a stable position talaga in their contribution sa design and construction process. Pero I think this is also a good thing for engineers as well kasi at least now,
Other boundaries, I guess.
it's not really I don't think boundaries is the right term, pero parang mas clear yung set of responsibilities na nakaset for each person. That's why we took 5 years to study architecture kasi we're trying to make the best possible architectural plans. Sila naman, they can focus on providing the best possible solutions in their respective engineering fields.
Di ba, like, ikaw, Lomi, since madalas kong kumakausap sa mga allied professions natin, like, every day we communicate with them to deliver yung best possible design sa client. And that requires us to respect their expertise. Like, may cases na sobrang exposed mo, for example, sa interior or sobrang exposed mo sa landscape design. Pero I don't think we ever thought na, okay, so hindi ko na kailangan mag-consult ng landscape architect since kaya ko naman gawin. Or hindi ko na kailangan mag-consult ng interior, hindi ko na kailangan mag-consult ng civil or graphic designer. Kasi at the end of the day, if yung goal mo talaga is quality of life, if yung goal mo is mabigay yung best possible design, you always defer to the people who studied it and who is the best qualified.
Yeah, of course. Yun talaga yung goal in a perfect world. Pero, syempre, we don't live in a perfect world.
Sa world na
Alam mo,
timely.
meron din ganyang group sa Facebook. For sure, you guys are familiar with Homebodies.
DIY naman.
Meron ding post din na parang dinesign nila yung sarili nilang bahay without a professional.
And this law naman is not supposed to monopolize yung design. This doesn't gatekeep design, diba? Pero yung reason why we have specific building codes, why we have laws, regulations, why hindi lang pwede basta-basta mag-construct ng bahay yung hindi nakapag-aral ng Archi is because for their own protection din yun for their own safety. So it's not always for us, it's also for them.
Yeah, exactly. Agree.
So basically, that was a long fight.
Long fight.
Yeah.
Alam mo yung mas longer na fight.
Mas longer na fight kaysa dyan.
Yung 10 years of Attack on Titan,
Oh, God.
which was finally ending after, ano yun?
After final.
Last season, final part 2. So
True.
basically, after the whole thing, the story finally came to an end sa anime.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended in the manga din.
Mhm.
Pero 10 years in the
True.
making yung anime na series finale. Which I think was super timely kasi during its release, sobrang nag-trend siya. And I'm glad na it did. Kasi I was afraid na it would be one of those series finales na hindi masyado mapapansin, that would go under the radar. Pero I'm glad na the hype was built up enough and everyone was able to see it. I don't want to spoil it. Maybe some people haven't watched it yet. It's only November. We'll give them enough time. I kind of grew up with it in a way na parang nasubaybayan ko din yung anime as I was growing up. I think it started in high school.
High school pa to?
High school, right? High
Ko na
school.
maalala.
I'm not sure.
I think
just watched
if 10
so.
years,
Yeah.
then high school. So, parang watching the finale now as a full-fledged semi-adult working na, parang ayun, it makes you feel like it was such a journey to have gone through it. So I'm glad na it was finally able to land on its feet with a pretty
Yeah.
solid ending na hopefully you guys will watch.
Feel like nung nag-end yung manga, it wasn't parang 100% positive din for the manga reader. So, medyo wary yung anime
They were
watchers.
super
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. Kasi yung naririnig nila from the manga readers is it's gonna be bad. Pero I feel like this got a better reception ata.
I think it's because of the fact na iba yung iba
Kind
yung
of
fan base
changed then
of
something.
the manga readers versus yung mga nanonood ng anime kasi
Mas
the anime is more
Mas
exposed
mainstream
to
din, yeah.
mainstream audiences, whereas yung manga fans have, I feel like, more deeper emotional investment sa story. So maybe they have a certain like vision na for the story. So I feel like it's kind of hard to diverge from that.
I feel like this is the best gateway anime ata. Right? I think this is the best
it's
gateway
one
anime.
of, if not like Death Note or
Death
maybe
Note,
something
sure.
like that. It depends, pero this is one of the best examples na to get someone into anime.
I
So,
think ito yung pinaka nagdala ng anime sa Western sphere ata.
Oh,
Kasi
yeah.
before, if you live in the West, obviously hindi ako natira sa West, but I just hear people who live sa West, tas ano ba yung first exposure nila sa anime? It's yung mga leaks sa YouTube, yung mga sub-Espanyol na Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 1,
Yeah,
Part 1,
yeah,
tapos
exactly.
Tapos, obviously yung big three, yung Naruto, One Piece, Bleach na hindi pa naman natatapos. I think after nung era na yon, you have My Hero Academia, super
Oh, yeah.
slight.
Pero
nung
not in the
konti,
same effect.
Not to the same effect.
Ano po? Like
Death Note,
Demon Slayer.
Medyo
yeah.
trinay ng Hollywood.
Jujutsu
I
Kaisen right now is super trending, but I feel like it was because
don't think
the
it's-
gateway was
Was this.
definitely
Oo.
because of Attack on Titan. So
Mhm.
I'm glad na even Western audiences, not just Filipino, Asian, or in general, parang a lot of people are exposed na sa anime in mainstream media outside of the anime community, which I think
Right.
we have a lot to credit AOT for.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that ended, eto, ganito katagal? 10 years.
10 years.
10
so-
years, yeah.
So, mas
Big deal yung 10 years, ah.
Yeah. Meron pang mas matagal.
Oh.
Which is, December is the month of breakups.
breakups.
And the biggest one is,
Kathniel. Damn.
go
I
Dean.
think it's one of those moments na event siya of the Philippines.
It's a
It was-
cultural
it was-
shift.
there is a cultural shift, definitely. Parang of the Philippines is in a state of mourning.
No, but there really is a cultural shift. Kasi napag-usapan natin to. It feels like it's the death of not just Kathniel, pero the love team culture in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, kasi nga, they were the most prominent, definitely,
They were.
diba?
They were their peaks were beaten by another love team. Pero consistency, Kathniel talaga.
Yeah, actually. Kasi, around that time, there was also Josh Leah, Jadine,
Oh,
Liz Ken.
The
Pero,
big three.
yeah.
No, I mean, nung time, nung high school tayo,
Yeah.
or elementary.
Na tinatry
A
mo
lot-
Daniel
a
A
Padilla.
lot of people really look, a lot of young people really look up to them. Not only young people, especially mga nanay na sumusubaybay sa mga primetime shows na featuring them.
Basically, they sold,
Yeah.
like, as in, like, crazy. Anything with Katniel in it.
Like yung tipong mga sari-sari stores, pinapangalan nilang Kathniel Sari-Sari Store.
Yeah.
Or any store na makikita mo sa tabi.
Basically, it was an important part of the entire Philippine culture in
Yeah.
general, diba?
And now, look what happened. Nung nag-break na ang Kathniel, siguro I would assume
Umiyak ka ba?
25% of the economy,
Of the economy?
yun. 25%
Bumagsak?
economy of the Philippines bumagsak dahil wala nang Kathniel.
Let's not mind na December ngayon. And
True.
parang, it feels like the end of an era nga talaga. Alam mo yung parang, it's one of those moments na you can pinpoint where you were and what you were doing when you found out na wala na yung
I know,
Katniel.
oh my God.
Di ba?
Oo.
Where were you guys?
Sa Singapore kami
Na-
doon. Tapos nag-break yung
Nasa World Architecture Festival
Yeah.
ka sa Singapore when you found out na wala na yung Katniel.
I was with my mom.
You were with your mom.
Mom.
I was on my way home, like from office. So parang it's one of those things na forever nang nakasement sa'yo because it felt like the whole Philippines was grieving with you. And
Just going back, then sinabi ko na it feels like this is the end of love teams. Kasi diba, we mentioned kanina, it's like the end of TV, diba? And after nun, break yung Jadine.
sorry.
Wala nang
Si-
risk.
Si Sian Lim tsaka si Kim Chu.
Si Yan Lim and Kim Chu. Tapos ngayon, well,
Meron
Aldab-
din, I'm not sure.
Aldab wala din.
I'm
Hindi
not
ka sure?
Wait, hindi. Wait,
Delusion.
wait. Hold that thought on
Let's
Adam.
feed.
Pero di ba meron din yung, I don't know kung recent breakup din to, yung kay Richard Gutierrez siya kasara.
Sorry.
This
Sorry.
is recent. Oh my God, yeah. This is
Recent.
So,
Like, I don't know if this year talaga is the year of
so
breakup.
look, yung love teams na sinuportahan mo dati, it's either kasal na sila or wala na sila. And if hindi pa sila kasal, it's bad news kasi wala nang TV. Like, wala na sila masyadong avenues to show off their love
have
teams.
YouTube.
Ganun. You have YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not the same parang level of exposure ata. Na
That-
constant. Na wala kang choice kundi pag uwi mo ng bahay, on mo yung TV, kita mo yung Kathniel. Wala nang ganun ngayon. Kasi
Yeah.
sobrang, parang video on demand. Kung ano yung gusto ko panoorin, yun lang yung lalabas.
I mean, it was definitely a rocky start to December. Pero let's just try to stay a bit more positive. So maybe there are other things to look forward to right before the year ends, right?
Yeah, so tapusin natin yung Kathniel to. Kasi honestly, yung buong episode na to is just an excuse to talk about
Kathniel.
Exactly. So natapos na natin.
Tapusin natin yung main topic.
Yeah.
Not David
That-
Chipperfield.
That's why
Ito.
nakasolo siya sa slide.
So wala siyang ibang ka-level. But
Okay.
other stuff to look forward to. This first one is Sagrada Familia. So,
Matatapos na ba?
based on my research ata, parang one tower na lang yung natitirang
Oh, okay.
construct.
Oh,
And
okay.
if COVID didn't happen, tapos na to.
Mm.
But since it did, 2026 ata yung expected na.
Tapos
Wow.
meron
It's in
pang
full.
meron pang chika na magiging santo daw
Chika.
si Gaudi.
You need to correct that, Jean.
Hindi siya chika, like, nasa parang process na ata siya, nasa canonization.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Anton
Which is
Gaudi, the
first
architect.
Step
Yeah.
of beatification.
So talagang magiging santo na yung
Correction.
No.
That is the first step. Pero that does not necessarily mean na
So,
it will
Maraming
continue.
candidates na like years before na canonized sila pero hindi sila saints. They stayed at that level. Hindi ko alam yung requirement for saint. Need ba ng miracle or something?
Probably at the
I
higher,
mean, in our profession,
higher level.
this is a miracle.
This is a miracle.
140 years ata na construction to. And it's one of those few buildings na hindi mo kailangan mapuntahan para ma-appreciate yung scale and yung masterpiece niya. Speaking of mga masterpiece, There's gonna be an
Oh,
MMFF 2020.
exciting, actually. So MMFF, I've mentioned this before. It's yung annual film festival. We actually have two MMFFs, by the way.
Every
We
year,
have
no?
one in the summer. Pero the more popular one is yung MMFF at the end of the year, which premieres every December 25, exactly on Christmas Day. Specifically this year, I'm actually very excited about the lineup. Kasi for me personally, one of my favorite years ng MMFF was in 2016 MMFF, which featured almost entirely new stories. Kasi I think we're all familiar with the fact na MMFF usually showcases very specific movie franchises like Shake, Rattle, and Roll. There's always a Vice Ganda film, maybe an Enteng Cabezote film, and then one or two horror movies. But this year, as in we have a super fresh lineup. I mean, I'm always excited seeing independent stories. Even though these are backed up by obviously big names like Vilma Santos is here, also Piolo Pascual, and a few others like Sharon Cuneta. These are all unique stories that aren't really linked to any franchises, which I'm actually really excited to watch. Honestly, I would watch all of them. So if I could give some advice to you guys, try to watch all of them because I've seen all of the trailers and they all look really promising. There's something for everyone. There are horror movies, there's love story, there's an action movie, there's kind of like a comedy.
Ikaw, saan ka pinaka like excited
I'm-
sa lahat ng to? If you were to watch just one.
It's super tough, honestly, kasi they're all super good. But if I had to pick, maybe give me three. I would watch, I think, Kampon. It doesn't feel Western. It
Yeah.
feels like a Filipino horror movie. Malyari is also super interesting. I'm actually super interested sa gagawin nilang take. It's one of the first few times na we'll actually portray a serial killer sa horror movie. Tapos, maybe if I had to pick a third one, I think I'm actually excited about Gomburza din. Kasi, so far yung track record natin of bringing to life historical stories recently with Goyo and General Luna has been super solid. So,
So this is parang Brandon's universe.
I'm not exactly sure if it's like exactly in the universe, pero
Yung trend lang of like
just the
Historical
general trend,
films,
we're in a
ganun.
really good momentum with that type of subgenre of movie. So I'm really excited about that.
Speaking of things to be excited about, this last picture right here, and you can see a big sign dito for those watching the video. There's this big letter B dyan, so care to explain about that?
So B stands for
Barchan.
So stay tuned na lang on our socials.
Pero I think, Izzy, we shouldn't really talk about that at the moment. Maybe we can
Yeah,
leave it
baka-
up for later
Right,
discussion.
right.
Yeah.
Tama. Right, so we teased this a bit na nung Big Babble 2023. But
Oh.
I feel like you guys should just stay tuned na lang for what this B
Parang ang tagal na nating
means.
tinitease.
Oo nga eh.
Pero, wait lang guys, wait lang. Better to keep up with it na lang. And
Yeah.
I'm glad na all of us are here today to kind of go through everything. So at least now, I'm able to process na, okay, madami naman pala nangyari ng this
True.
year. Akala ko that time just
Sa
slipped by so
sobrang
easily,
dami,
diba?
inabot na tayo ng 1:30 a.m. kaka-record ng episode na to. That's how much stuff has
currently
happened.
1:30 a.m. right now.
Sa inyo guys, ano yung pinaka-highlight so far sa pinag-usapan natin?
Oh my God.
Right.
Those are highlights. So you're making us choose.
Yeah, the
The
best.
highlight
Okay,
of the highlights.
Bago sila tayo muna. Ano yung highlight for you, Lon?
You should be the one answering first because you asked a
Tama,
question.
Yung highlight for me, this 2023, was Kathniel, of course. Kasi, literally, nag-stop yung Pilipinas. Nung nalaman...
It's like a Pacquiao fight, pero
Oo,
limang araw.
yeah. And, it's still... it's still trending.
Ako obviously WAF, like, and then Kathniel.
Katniel.
Kasi nasa WAF ako, tapos biglang sumapaw yung Kathniel. So,
Sumapaw. So, kasalanan pa
Kailan
nila.
nila. Hindi ko tuloy na-enjoy. Nalungkot tuloy ako. Hindi mo lang ako hinintay bumalik bago sila nag-announce. Anyway, ikaw, Lomi. Ano yung
Oh my
film?
God, kasi di ko alam.
Kathniel din.
No, ayoko naman sabihin
Oo.
yung Kathniel.
Barbenheimer feeling.
Sige. Honestly, for me, every month was super eventful.
Oh.
Honestly, hindi talaga ako makakapili. It's been a jam-packed year,
Yeah.
honestly. Pero I guess if I had to pick super fun for me yung month of the Barbenheimer trend. As in, that was the month of the movies. And I feel like all of you guys know at this point na I love movies. I love watching movies. So, it's really nice na ang daming mga taong getting dressed up, kind of talking about movies and going out to the theaters. Kasi there was a point talaga na theater was about to die. Cinema was about to die. Tapos, na-double down pa siya ng pandemic. So,
Right.
now we are back. And
Yeah. So,
I'm
parang film, Archie, showbiz.
that's our branding.
Yung conclusion.
It's the perfect trio. Yun yung Holy Trinity.
True.
Kayo ba guys, our listeners out there, what are your highlights this year? Please comment down below and YouTube or Spotify.
Ano word of the year nyo?
Yeah. Kung sabi ng Oxford Riz, tapos sa amin dito sa
It's
office.
slay.
Slay. It's giving.
It's not word eh.
Pero, well, giving.
Anyway,
Slay
it's
siya.
giving. We need to wrap up now.
True.
Yeah.
Because
It's already 1:30
Na rin nila matulog
AM.
kasi. Yung
Yeah.
nakikinig.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess that's about it. So, thank you so much and bye.
Bye.